What's up guys, name is Dre and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today we want to talk about Tartaglia, how he is called in the game, or Childe. So I think in future videos I really want to call him Childe because that's the name where we get to know him. And yeah, we want to talk about different artifact builds, recommended weapons, possible team compositions, and at the end of course I want to show some gameplay so you can check out yourself how this guy works. Now, without further ado, let's hop into some artifact builds for him. You can do a lot of different artifacts builds, so I just want to give you some ideas that you can do to build out your characters. I'm currently running a Nobilis of Bleach and Gladiators set on him, giving him 20% elemental burst damage and attack percent, 18% attack. I do think that this set really works fine. It is still a very strong, very solid set, and I may want to stick to the set. I may want to go for the Nobilis of Bleach, but at least I want to try it. And yeah, so let's go over the artifact pieces real quick. And after this, I want to talk about possible other artifact builds that you can go or run on Childe. So the Flora, I did build 2 Floras for him just to show him so we can compare these real quick. This has attack percentage and this has like 10% crit rate and 12% crit damage. This has 7% crit rate, 9%, but it has 15% HP. So I did decide to go for this because I do think attack then crit rate are the most important things for Childe. After this, you have to build crit damage on him. So optimal way would be a attack percentage, crit rate percentage, crit damage percentage. Maybe energy recharge or elemental mastery would be nice to have. HP is a nice to have stat, but it is not something that you do really need. Yeah, that's the reason I did go for this piece. For the feather, yeah, we don't want to compare the feathers. Yeah, the feather here. It is pretty much a god roll, so we have a lot of crit rate. We have 70% crit damage, has flat HP and HP percentage. So my Childe does have a lot of HP because I do roll a lot into these HP stats for no reason. But yeah, sometimes it is what it is. And I do think that the set is pretty much a god roll. All the other sets are like more okayish. So the Gladiator set is actually from my Beidou. So if you did watch my Beidou showcase, you may already saw this piece. But for the purpose of the showcase, of course, I want to give Childe my Gladiator set to try this out. It has a lot of energy recharge, again HP, and 30% crit damage. So pretty solid roll. It is not perfect, but it is still a very, very good one. This one is like more okayish. It is a hydro bonus damage. So if I am able to replace this, I think I would do it. Again, this has a lot of HP. It has nearly 20% HP percent, but it does have crit damage, which is at least not too bad. Then I do have like this Gladiator piece, but it doesn't have too good substats. So you want to have like at least 3 or better, of course, 4 substats if you start re-rolling your gear. But of course, this is a 5-star piece, which does win over 4-star pieces in a lot of cases, not always, but it does do it a lot. And yeah, I think it is all right, but if I do have the time, I want to swap this out, of course. Last thing is a crit rate Gladiator's helmet. This one is okayish. It is not perfect. It only has 6% crit rate, energy recharge, and it did roll a lot into flat HP. That's the reason why my Childe does have a lot of HP. Let's talk about like other possibilities that you can build on him. I want to keep this as fast and quick as possible to give you an idea what you can build on your Childe. So it really depends on if you want to use him as a melee character, as a split character. So means you want to use him as a melee and ranged character, or if you want to only use him as a ranged character. So that's reasons why he's so versatile. Also, another role would be main DPS, secondary DPS, utility DPS, utility supporter. So he can do a lot of different things, and you really want to focus on like another one of these strategies to build him. So if you run a full Nobilis or Bleach set, the thing that you really want to do is to ult a lot with him. So if you want to ult a lot of win, I would recommend to go for attack percent, crit rate, and some of your pieces should have energy recharge to refill your energy to use your ultimate more often. Possibility on that is what I'm currently debating is to level up this energy recharge, but then he would lose a bit of his damage. And I want to use him as a main damage dealer. So this is a very good piece if you want to use him more on this route, only use the ultimate. So this is like more a supportish route, if it does make sense. Another possibility would be a double attack percentage set. So you can run like a gladiator set and another set that does give attack percentage. So you will end up having 36% damage. So this is a set that is, it is not perfect, but it gives you the option to run him in melee and range stance. And if your artifact pieces do have some solid crit rate, crit damage subsets, the set will work out for you for quite a while. And after this, you still can decide to go and give him like a hydro bonus damage set later on if it will come out in the future. Another set that is a possibility is the Wanderer set, which is here. Yeah, it gives him elemental mastery, so this is very good if you want him to be the encounter for your elemental reactions. And this is a very good piece. Increases charge damage by 35% if the character uses a catalyst or a bow. Childe, of course, is a bow user, so this is very good if you want to use them a bit more as a range type unit, which I do think is still okay. I'm not a fan personally, but I do think that this is still a very good way to use this unit. If you don't have anything of these, this is a set that does work out also. Physical damage bonus. It is not the best set, of course, but it is a set that does work out if you want to use him more in melee stance, because then he usually does scale more on his elements. So he would scale more if you have a hydro bonus set, but currently we do not have this in the game. But this does work out quite well if you want to go more on auto attacks. So it does work for range, it does work for melee. It is not a bad set. Do I have another set that I can show you guys? Yeah, the Gambler set. So the full set on this is the set if you want to go him in melee stance on a budget way. So Childe is very hard to use, very hard to master if you don't have any constellations on him, because then you really depend on his cooldown of his E ability. And the important thing is that you want to manage the cooldown between your E ability, which does change his stances. And yeah, increasing his elemental skill damage means also you would increase your auto attack damage because you use his E after you change your stance. Then this one is a very important. Defeating an enemy has a 100% chance to remove elemental skill. Cooldown can only occur once every 50 seconds. So this is a very nice piece set if you want to use him as a melee auto attack unit. Only problem on the set would be that it doesn't have a legendary piece set, so you only have 4-star Gambler set. But this is a set that I would recommend, that I actually would try out if I would have the resources. But yeah, another problem is you don't want to build out any or a lot of different random sets if it only works for this unit, because yeah, the Gladiators piece is a piece that a lot of different units can make use of, so that's why it's not too bad to level it up. And after this I say, no, Gladiator set, I don't like it on Childe. I can give it my Beidou, I can give it my, for example, my Klee, I can give it any other unit, because a lot of different units can make use out of a 2-piece Gladiator set. But yeah, for the Gambler set, you have to really invest your resources to try this out. Another thing that I would try out, or actually I don't think it is highly recommended, but I think it is a possibility to go for a 2-piece Gamblers and a 2-piece Noble set. But then I would go rather for a 2-piece Noble set and a 2-piece Gladiator set. So you just would sacrifice 2% of your elemental skill damage for your attack percentage damage, which is a way more consistent way, because the Gladiator set you can run in a 5-star pieces, while Gambler set is not able to run in 5-star pieces, only 4-star pieces. So that's the reason why I would stick for Gladiators over Gambler set if you want to go this route. Let's show some spots where you can farm. Of course, all the bosses do drop Gladiators and Wanderers troop. If you want to farm this, of course, you have Childe, you have the Wolf, you have Storm Terror if you like to farm it. And yeah, this is the set where you can get his Nobler set, his gambler set. Keep in mind that this only got 4-star pieces. Alright, let's go over some possible weapons that you can use on Childe. So I do currently see this weapon is a possibility. So this is currently in the Stardust shop. I'm not a too high fan of this, because the main thing on this is you have to defeat an enemy and then you can increase your attack by 12% if you only run 1 copy. If you're able to buy more copies, you can go up all the way to 24%. But yeah, I think the most realistic way is to have him like in this range, 12 or 15% attack bonus for 30 seconds, but you have to defeat an enemy. This has crit damage. I think it is a possibility if you don't have any other bow. Next one that I would recommend is the Rust. This is currently in the featured banner. Unfortunately, it does increase normal attack damage by 40%. So I think this is the most realistic way, where you have the refinement rank one if you are able to increase it, of course. And it does decrease your aim shot. So this is if you want to go more the route of his melee. If you want to focus more on his melee stances, and not on his aim shot, this weapon is I think one of the best options that you can go. Sacrificial bow, actually the weapon that I would run if I would run him the ultimate road, like I explained in the artifact parts. So after damaging an enemy with elemental skill, the skill has 40% chance, so 40 because I think the most realistic way, or most people would only have these weapons at refinement rank 1, chance to end its own cooldown. So this is another opportunity in a more free-to-play-ish way, a more easy way to lower the cooldowns of his E ability. So after you use his E, you have a 40% chance. So if you can get this up to a higher refinement rank, this is very good. So these are like ways to handle his cooldown without pulling constellation copies of him, because constellation copies of him lead him more into the direction to play around his E, and this is like the most important ability from Childe. So I think the sacrificial bow is one of the best options besides the Rust if you want to really play around his E ability. Then, of course, the current bow that is featured is the Skyward Harp. It does give crit rate, which is one of the best stats that Childe can make use of them, and it does increase your crit damage. It hits have a 60% chance to inflict a small AoE attack, so this does support his Riptide effect, and it dealing 100% physical attack damage. This can occur every 4 seconds. So, to be honest, I still do think Skyward Harp is the best in slot for Childe. Discussion would be sacrificial bow, but I don't think that Rust would go over a Skyward Harp, to be honest, even at refinement rank 5. I honestly do think that it is like still the best option to run a Skyward Harp. Stringless, another option that is very strong. So it does increase your elemental skill and elemental burst damage by 24%. This is a very nice bow if you want to go the more supportive way, I would say. So this is not a bow if you go here for full DPS, because the subset would be elemental mastery, but he has to be the one to trigger your elemental reactions. So let's say you have a Sucrose, a Klee, then you have like use Jumpty Dumpty with Klee, go with Sucrose, go with Childe, then you use your ultimate, swap him back to Klee, and then Klee will do your main damage. So that's the way how I would use Childe if I have the Stringless. Personally, I wouldn't go for these Stringless because I want to use Childe as a main DPS damage dealer, but if you want to go more a utility route, the Stringless is a very, very solid option. If you want to go Childe for a main damage dealer, best option Skyward Harp if you have it, Rust, Sacrificial Bow, and the Stringless. This is the weapon that you build from that you can craft from Wagner, the blacksmith. It does increase physical damage bonus, which is very good if you want to go him in melee. Normal attack and aim shots hits increase by attack 4% and normal attack speed by 1.2%. So this will be very easy to build refinement ranks on because it is a free-to-play weapon and it can maximum stack 4 times. So I think it is still not as good as the Rust or Sacrificial Bow, but it is the free-to-play version if you don't have any other bow that you can run on your character. Alright, Teambuilds. So this is the team that I currently running on Childe. I want to explain this. Childe is my main DPS damage dealer along with Klee, so I don't think that I can utilize him to his full DPS as a full DPS character because I'm binded to his E ability. So actually he is like my secondary DPS, so he can't be on the field as long as Klee can be because I have to swap after he want to change his stances. How does this team work? So the main thing on this team is like vaporizing damage. So I want to apply Riptide effect, apply Hydro damage on the enemy, and after this I can trigger Vaporize with Klee. The reason I want to go for 2 Anemo characters is of course the Elemental Resonance. So if you guys know, you can click on the Elemental Resonance. It shows you what effects you can trigger if you build 2 types of the same element in your team. So for example, if you go for Anemo, I will have a 50% decreased stamina consumption, I will have an increased movement speed for 10% and a shortened skill cooldown reduction by 5%. So I want to go for the Anemo route because this is very good for exploring the map, the first part. This is very good for Klee because Klee I do think is a very clunky character. She does really profit from movement speed. Also, it is actually very nice for other characters, and the cooldown reduction, especially for running Childe, because I really want to main Childe because I do like the character, and yeah, this does shorten his E ability for like 2 seconds on max cooldown. Another opportunity that I may consider is running 2 fire elements. I do think fire and Anemo are like the 2 best buffs, elemental resonance effects that you can run, because then you would increase your attack by 25%, which is huge. So the only way that I would do this is I want to replace Sucrose for Bennett. Yeah. So I have Klee and Bennett as my 2 fire characters. I don't think that this is the most accessible way for the most people. So what you can do is you can run any 2 Anemo characters. So the Traveler is free to play, so you would always have him. Sucrose was featured in the last banner, and he is in all the other banners unfeatured. So I think he will be the most realistic one to pick along with the Traveler in your team to go this build. Yeah, Jean can be replaced, for example, for Venti if you have him. The next build is not on Elemental Resonance, it is more on having different types on the team. So Beidou as my main damage dealer, Tartaglia as my secondary damage dealer. Jean can be replaced by any other healer. Bennett can also be replaced by any other utility support. So depending how you want this, so I would go Jean as a full healer because she's like the most built out unit that I have. So basically the most free-to-play option in this way would be Barbara, so you can replace her with Barbara, and Bennett can be any other utility support. For example, yeah, Sucrose is not too good in this comp, I do think. I think Jangling is another option. So yeah, Beidou can be any other damage dealer, so depending on what you have, so it can be Kaching for the 5 stars, it can be Diluc. If you have Razor, it can be Razor. Yeah, any other DPS character would fit in the spot for Beidou. Childe would fit in here, and then you can run a healer and a utility supporter. Another free-to-play way. This is the most versatile one that I want to explain. So I want to go for especially units that are very easy accessible for a lot of you guys. So of course Childe, not because Childe is the one we're talking, but you may only have Childe and don't have any other units to build around him. So he will be the main damage dealer. Jangling, you will get free to play as another option. So this will be a option to trigger Vaporize. Fischl will be free to play by this week. So when the video is out, I think she will be accessible free to play already. So Diana is currently on Childe's banner, so you may pull her already, but she can be replaced by any other healer. I just wanted to show her because she is a healer. So this would be 3 archers. I'm not a fan of using more than 1 archer, so would be very overkill, but you don't have to see Fischl as an archer. You only want to swap her in, use her E. You only want to swap Jangling in, use her E, then you can swap into Childe, and then you have some elemental reactions because these 2 do apply them already. And Diana can be any other healer, as I said, so you can swap her, of course, again to Barbara. Barbara is the free-to-play character, so this would be a full free-to-play team beside Childe. Yeah, I think these are some team compositions. I hope that I could help you. Let's hop into some gameplay. Last thing before we go into the showcase, of course, is I have him at 0 constellation and all his talents are leveled up to level 6. Besides, his normal attack is level 7 because of his passive, where he does increase the normal attacks by 1 level if he is your party member. Okay, the first boss that I want to fight is of course the Pyro Regiswine, so let's swap into his melee stance and look at how much damage he can deal after we break his shield against the Pyro Regiswine. So now we want to use his ultimate and then only attack, so he is dealing quite a lot of damage with the Gladiator Noblest set. But keep in mind, we only have a time gate, so he will only stay 30 seconds in this stance. And yeah, I want to stay at the stance until the end, just to show you, okay, we should heal, but yeah, just to show you that it is time gated. So yeah, it will, hopefully we don't die. Okay, after healing up, I just want to show how much damage his auto attacks deal as long as he is in the bow formation. Not bow formation, bow stance, of course. So yeah, it doesn't deal too much damage. Now let's swap back into melee. And it does deal quite a lot of damage, so like 2-3k per hit. So problem is Childe won't be, I think he will be able to solo the Pyro Regiswine. So we're currently at world level 6, of course. World level 6 is the rank where you cannot increase your level of your characters. Okay, let's go maybe for another boss. Okay, next fight. I did pick the Electro Hypostasis just to show you another way of gameplay. So I want to go into melee stance, that's how I do use him, and I want to show you the damage that he does for electro charge damage. So yeah, that's something that you really have to keep in mind. If you like run away from the enemy, really swap back into your range stance. So at the end, your E won't be on a too high cooldown, because that's like the biggest problem that I do have to manage his stances. Okay, and in the last part of today's showcase, I want to show Childe in the Spiral Abyss, because I do think that this is a spot where he does really shine. And I want to show you how strong the unit is. So as you can see, I did already clear out all the Spiral Abyss. So let's go to Chamber 8, which is like the hardest for the first 8. Okay guys, look at the damage how that he's dealing in the Spiral Abyss floor 8. So for Childe it's quite easy, so you can swap him easily out, like go for Klee. Okay, maybe let's go back for Barbara heal. And while kiting with Klee, I go back into Childe's, I try to get back his cooldown. You can see he's still dealing quite a lot of damage with his unaimed auto attacks. And now let's go back into melee stance. Kill this guy, kill this guy. Yeah, look how fast this was. Alright, Chamber 9. Okay, I just want to show you how easy it is for Childe to beat like all these enemies. So if you're struggling with Chamber 9, it's like no problem for Childe. Look at the damage that he's dealing with his enemies, having no problems. So only problem that I can tell you right now is I can't let him out all the 30 seconds, because after this I will be in trouble for his cooldown. So okay, let's look at the charge attacks that are nerfed by the rust. Still 40,000 crit, because I just want to show like the damages that he is capable of doing. Now, this time we have the ultimate. Let's lock all the enemies in one place. After this, I want to attack like all the 5 enemies with the ultimate and see what he is capable of doing. So yeah. Hope this was enough to show you guys of what he is capable of doing. So he is still I do think he's a very, very strong unit. But the hard parts on him is really to manage between his E stance and his range stance in all the different game modes like Spiral Abyss on the map, in dungeons, and so on. So yeah. So at the moment, I'm still thinking about going back into banner for his first constellation, giving him the 20% cooldown reduction on his E ability, but that's something that is still up in the stars, so still thinking about it, but you may see another summon videos in the next days. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's Genshin Impact video showcase of Tartaglia, and if you guys do so, subscribe to my channel for more Genshin Impact content. I'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more Genshin Impact content, videos should pop up on the screen right now. Make sure to check them out, and I thank you for your support.